Hi, welcome to Todd's Tacos. Today on Todd's Tacos, we're not actually making tacos yet. I'm going to be grilling some chicken that will eventually end up as a taco, and so I'm going to walk you through how I would do this, and feel free to send me your suggestions on how to cook chicken. I like to cook it a long time on a low heat, but first I'm going to start with seasoning everything. Got this fresh, natural, no antibiotics ever chicken from HEB. And I'm wondering, does that matter to you? Whether or not the chicken that you eat has antibiotics? I've never really taken the time to learn the science of it. I think most people just listen to whatever the media says. And if they say antibiotics are bad, then they just go with it. Scientists have become like a sort of religion. If a scientist says it, it's got to be true. Well, if you remember in the history that you learned in school, science changes over time. You know, at one time, scientists would say that in order to cure somebody of disease, you should use leeches and let out or other forms of bloodletting. I don't know too many hospitals that do that. Actually, I don't know any. Have you ever tried bloodletting? Well, I like to cook this chicken so that it's not so thick, because then it doesn't take so long to cook. And I don't want just the outside of it to be cooked. I want all of it to be cooked. So I think they call this butterflying. And by the way, I'm not really a chef of any kind. I just try things. And if it doesn't turn out well, then maybe I'd do it a different way next time. But I've been grilling chicken for many, many years, and I learned from some of my friends in college. I said, "Why are you always grilling chicken?" He says, "Because it's cheap." Well, that's not why I'm grilling it tonight, but chicken has become sort of a staple of food in my family. My dad thinks it's healthy. And do you think it's healthy? Do you think chicken's healthier than beef or venison? You know what I'd really like to do someday is hunt a wild turkey. Have you ever had wild turkey? Not the drink. A real wild turkey that you harvested from the wild. Did you ever eat something like that? The guys that I hunt with, they debate on whether a wild turkey is really even good to eat. What do you think? Got my tongs here. I'm going to use that to turn over the chicken. I try and make every effort to not touch the chicken, but you did just see me touching the chicken as I held it to cut the butterfly style. You know, food safety is a real thing. And the only thing I ever learned about food safety was when my wife cooked chicken one day before Easter and was so sick the next day, I think we had to skip church. So every time I cut away from the camera, that's me washing my hands. I'm going to use these tongs to flip the chicken, and I'm going to use Lawry's seasoned salt. Now that's not the only thing I'm going to use, but that's the first thing I'm going to use. How do you like to season your chicken? You use salt and pepper? You use something else? let me know, because I'm interested. I want to keep my reputation cooking chicken that's not dried out, that's cooked all the way through. My mom taught me that the most important thing about cooking chicken was to make sure that it was cooked. So that's why I like to cook it for so long. And the trick is, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, is just to cook it at a low heat. That way it cooks all the way through. I learned something from YouTube a while ago. Somebody did a study about how long the seasoning had to sit. And so he did different pieces at different times, and I guess tasted it, and he discovered, this guy on YouTube, that if you let the seasoning sit for just a little while, it's going to be better than if you season it and put it directly on the grill. So I'm going to let this sit. I'm going to go start the fire, and then we'll see what happens. I'm about to start the fire. That's Lexi. That's my pit. See the charcoal? There's Lexi. That's my baby. And I'm going to have to tear off a piece of this bag, and I'll put the lighter fluid on it and start it on fire, and then I'll show you the fire. There we go. I got a question for you. Are you of the type that thinks that the lighter fluid has to soak into the charcoal and you wait a few minutes? Or do you light it right away? I've always wondered about that. We'll see what happens. I don't know if you can see. There's the smoke. Yeah. See the coals in there? How long should I wait before putting on the chicken? I can't tell you how challenging it is to hold this camera and cook at the same time, but I'm doing it for you so you can tell me what I'm doing wrong. Well, I asked you, how do I know when it's ready to put the chicken on, but then I looked at this thermometer here and it says 300, so I think that's good. And I told you that the Lawry's spice was just the beginning, and so I'm gonna add something else to it. It's this cooking sauce. Can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Woody's. And so I'm just gonna slather it on there. What do you like to use on your chicken? Have you heard about all the chickens that were killed because of bird flu? I wonder if that affects the price of chicken. I'm sure it does. See that? There we go. Put the chicken on. Now the timer starts. Well, the temperature got up to 400, so I opened the lid, and I'm just going to turn the chicken over. There it is, turned over. It's looking pretty good to me. But I guess I'll leave the lid open so it doesn't get so hot. So I'm taking the chicken off. It's been about 30 minutes, and I'll use the thermometer to make sure the internal temperature is good. I just wanted you to see before I took it off.